Today I heard a new version to this song, and I think that this song should be the summer song of 2025. Forget Vibes Cartel's new music, forget all the other artists' new music, forget Kendrick Lamar, forget Drake. This is it right here. Send this to the top of the charts. I just heard a new version to this, and I didn't even know this version existed, and apparently this version is the original version. They start out by going, I will vote. Not vote as VOTE, boat, BOAT. I will vote. Everybody, I will vote. For Donald Trump. I will vote. For Donald Trump. And the instrumentals are so catchy. It's like man, listen. I wish they had put more energy into actually educating themselves about what was coming down the pipeline. Welcome back to the channel, y'all. If you've never been here before, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Click the bell next to the subscribe button so you're notified every time a new video goes up on this channel. I won't keep you for too long. Just put your ears this way and let's share some information real quick. We all know what time it is now in the United States of America as far as immigration goes. Without further ado, Donald Trump's administration now orders 500,000 immigrants to leave the United States of America immediately. See, before we were talking about TPS being taken away and going through the process of the courts and being denied and rejected and then being allowed, and who was going to get their fair share of it. The Venezuelans and then the Cubans and then the Haitians would be next. Well, here's the update to that. The courts have sided with Donald Trump. His orders are now in play, whether you like it or not. 500,000 have now started getting their get out of town now message, or we're coming for you now message. Y'all see what's happening in these streets? They don't care. They don't care if 1,000 of you are gathered trying to prevent them. They are grabbing who they came to grab because they're leaving. I saw Donald Trump, our president, recently on a ad, and he said in response to the uprisings or the protests that are going on, he said, don't waste your time, because you're just going to protest for nothing, because they're still going to be arrested and they are still going to be deported, right? So with that said, he doesn't really care about you being out in the streets. It just gives him a reason to put the military to work. National Guards first, then in comes the Marines. I bet Army will be on the ground soon, and before you know it, it'll be a full-blown U.S. citizens versus U.S. military type of situation. Is it right? Leave that comment in the comment section below. Is it wrong? Leave that comment in the comment section below. When I tell you I am on the fence, I am truly on the fence, because there were a lot of people like myself who spent the entire election using our platforms trying to educate people that, listen, if you mean good for your community, for your business, for yourself, for your family, this is the side of the ticket to vote on, not that other side. Well, for whatever reason it was, they voted on the other side. This is the United States of America. You cannot get mad at people for choosing which side they want to vote on. You just have to sit back and watch them reap the consequences of their votes and say, well, you know, votes have consequences. Elections have consequences when you vote. That's it. That's it. So immigrants who were admitted to the U.S. from the Biden-era parole program for Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, and Venezuela, these groups have now begun receiving their notices of termination, urging them to depart the United States of America immediately. You already know what's coming down the pipeline, but if you don't, hang around. I'll fill you in. I know you're saying to yourself, but what if they don't depart immediately? Okay, first of all, Haiti and Cuba have been added to the list of none of those are allowed inside of the United States of America. So right now there is no travel between Haiti and Cuba and the United States of America. Whoever is in Haiti trying to come to the US just got to stay there. Whoever is in the US trying to go to Haiti just got to stay here until things change. Participants in the program, the parole program, is called the CHNV parole program. They came here legally, okay? But they were also told that their employment authorization is also revoked effective immediately. When they came legally, not illegally, it was all good. That was the United States of America using their own laws to help a friend nation because their friend nation was in distress. Well, it was supposed to be a temporary situation. Along the lines, they also got the right to work and earn and pay taxes into the system, and many of them did. Well, now they no longer have the right to work here. So if they do seek employment, it will be illegal. And if anyone employs them, they will be employing an illegal alien. It goes right up and down the lines of there are stiff penalties out here for businesses who employ illegal aliens now. And you can even end up either going to prison, losing your business, all of the above, and being fined thousands upon thousands of dollars, which I don't think too many people are trying to get caught up in, right? Hostile environment, indeed. Now, the program also, they told them that you don't work here anymore. You cannot work here anymore. A blast of email messages from the Department of Homeland Security, the agency said, was sent out yesterday, Thursday, June 12th of 2025. So everybody should have gotten this on their phones that you need to leave immediately. The notices follow a U.S. Supreme Court decision last month, allowing the Department of Homeland Security to move forward with the revocation or taking back of the parole benefits for 500,000 immigrants after a lower court preserved the protections. A lower court ruled against Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said, F it, I'm going to the higher courts. And he went to the higher courts, and the higher courts ruled over the lower courts and gave him the authority to continue to move forward. A legal challenge to the Trump administration's dismantling of the parole program, including the CHNV process, is still ongoing. There are advocates who are fighting in the courts trying to get this to be reversed, but honestly, even if they do, by the time they do, there will be lots of people gone from this country because the deportation process is now expedited. There are lots of stories now of people being picked up on Monday, and by Tuesday, they're in a different country. So there's no longer pick them up, go through a process. Once you have been deemed having no right to be here, no more process. So you won't be sitting around anymore waiting for your day to come in court, reporting once a month to a certain location. No, as soon as you're on that list, you're out of here. If you come in contact with immigration authorities, ICE, you are out of here. Revoking parole benefits is part of a larger effort by the Donald Trump administration to terminate all the temporary immigration protections that expanded in recent years. It has also terminated temporary protected status designations that shielded immigrants from Venezuela, Afghanistan, Nepal, Cameroon from deportation. All those are also included, not just the Venezuelans, not just the Cubans, not just the Hispanic community like many people are thinking. Haitians are involved, Afghans are involved, Nepalians are involved, African nations like Cameroon and others are involved as well, right? The revocation notice announcement came the day Donald Trump said he would issue an order to protect farm workers from deportation in response to demands from agricultural producers. So, the farmers in America are hurting. I've seen lots of videos now with berries, strawberries, oranges, you name it, scallions, onions, all types of fruits and vegetables are rotting in the fields and they're falling to the ground, and only the birds are eating them because there is no one to pick them, no workforce available to pick them and bring them to market. So if you notice, right, for instance, I shop at Walmart and I shop sometimes at Winn-Dixie. Those are two brands. Wherever you're at in the world, you probably shop at Piggly Wiggly's, or you probably shop at whatever your place of where you get your groceries from is named. When I look at the quality of a lot of the groceries that's in the grocery store now, there used to be more of a consistency, as in any day that I go to the grocery store to shop for groceries, if I went on a Monday, a Tuesday, a Wednesday, a Thursday, a Friday, a Saturday, a Sunday, any day I went, there was usually fresh produce that looked and felt and smelt like they were fresh. Now, when you go, especially like the tomatoes, when you go, the tomatoes are soggy. A lot of them are rotten. Same thing for the oranges. A lot of them are rotted. A lot of them are just, you can't use them and you don't buy them. And they're rotting even in the grocery store because they are taking forever to get them from the fields to the grocery store. They have to go through a process, right? Right. So with that happening, Donald Trump has heard the cry of the American farmers. You know what the funny thing is? There's a video out of a dairy farmer family. They're all white people, all Caucasians. They're out in the Midwest. And they have a huge dairy farm that has been in their family for generations, right? This is their generational wealth. They inherited and they built on it. And it is super successful. And they have lots and lots of employees. They made a video and posted it to social media saying, yep, all our employees have disappeared. They are afraid. They've moved on to other cities, other states because of what's happening. And now we have no one to milk the cows, to work the fields, to bring our produce to market. So we are about to go bankrupt. It's been happening since he took office, which was quite a few months ago. And at this point, they have spent their reserve trying to preserve their farm. You know, when you're in business, sometimes you got to have some money on the back end to save your business in case, you go through a little rough patch, so your business stays afloat until you start to pick up profits again. Well, they have spent that money that was supposed to take them through a rough patch. And now the woman, the wife, she's crying on camera, man, saying this is gone. They're gonna have to give it up by the end of this month, right? So with that said, she's not the only one. They're not the only one. Lots of American farmers who are majority Caucasian people, white people, who ironically are also people who straight up told you on video, we voted for Donald Trump. We voted for this. We have to admit it. We heard it when he said it. We knew what his agenda was. He didn't hide it, and we still voted for it. One woman said, I look at my husband now and I say to him, babe, we made a stupid decision. We made a decision to lose our livelihood, to lose our farm. Look at what we did. If we could take our votes back now, we would. But this is what we voted for. So they're begging Donald Trump to please have some leniency. And guess what he has done? Donald Trump has now said that he will be more lenient to protect farm workers from deportation. I don't know how they're going to do this. I guess they won't be raiding the farms anymore. I guess they will just look at the farms as leave the farms alone because they are needed. Which, if you think about it, this will create kind of a vacuum where everybody else who is in whatever else field they are in, working in a restaurant, in the back, washing dishes, busboys, servers, whatever you call it, they might be running to the farms because Trump has said he will now try to protect the farm workers from deportation in response to the demands from the agricultural producers. That's crazy. So in order to stay in the United States of America, one of the sure shot ways in the future will be that you work the farms. I want you to think about that. I want you to think about that. And shout out to all the Americans who kept saying, yeah, they come over here and they take our jobs. They come over here and they take all our jobs. They ran away from those jobs, and none of you were in line to fill the blank empty positions. That's funny. That's super funny. I'm watching everybody get what they voted for. And I know some people are saying, SouFLo, it's not okay for you to be saying, I told you so. Now is not the time for that. The hell it ain't. Now is absolutely the time for that. People have to learn. We're not children. We're grown people. And there's nothing wrong with a grown-ass person telling another grown-ass person, did I not tell you? Did I not tell you? Now look at what you have done. The crazy part is some of them want those of us who warned them all along to now actually put our lives on the line by standing in public protest with them while we are surrounded by Marines and National Guard soldiers. It hell to the no. The simplest thing you could have done was get in that ballot box voting booth and choose the right thing. And now we're supposed to, risk our lives for you? No. So it's time to watch, and we're watching, okay? So these revocation notices are out. The Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary Tricia McLaughlin, she said that the Biden administration hadn't properly vetted these immigrants who were admitted through the program, and that the paroled immigrants had undercut American workers. I highly doubt that because, again, a lot of them, they left the jobs, the measly jobs that they had, and no Americans are able to fill them. And that is why the president is now saying, okay, I'll ease up off those who work in the fields, the farm workers, whether it's a dairy farm or a farm where it's fruits and vegetables or whatever. I'll protect those. They weren't taking anybody's jobs. Ending the CHNV parole program, as well as the paroles of those who exploited it, will be a necessary return to common sense policies, a return to public safety, and a return to America First, is what she said. Of course, they're still pushing that America First agenda, like many criminals were let through on the Biden watch. There were criminals that were let through on the Biden watch, but to be honest with you, majority of the people that were let through on the Biden watch, they're not criminals. They were people, and it's proven. Majority of them are hardworking people who just want better for themselves and their families, right? Right. But the good will have to suffer for the bad. The Biden administration had actually launched the CHNV program in 2023 to reduce irregular immigration to the U.S.-Mexico border and give people an orderly way to flee humanitarian crisis in the 4 countries mentioned. Please be educated that this was not illegal for Joe Biden to do, and he was not the first U.S. president to do it. These are laws that are on the books in the United States of America, so you have to keep the same energy when Donald Trump uses the laws that were on the books in the United States of America. It's the law. The United States of America, is helping its fellow friend nations when they fall into chaos. If the shoe was on the other foot, U.S. citizens would like to know that there were nations out there who are ready to help your fleeing citizens if chaos should completely break out in the US. You get the drift? Okay, so applications far exceeded the 30,000 slot that was available each month. And the US businesses hired these parolees in hard to fill jobs across the country. Industries including construction, healthcare, and others are likely to face new worker shortage for the parolees' work permits that are canceled now. They just told them you can no longer work. If you do, it's illegal. So again, construction sites are about to be empty. Healthcare buildings are about to be very, very short. Most of these people didn't come as registered nurses and doctors. They came and filled the roles of like assistants and CNAs, the people who you need in like the nursing homes and the long-term healthcare facilities, the ones who do the changing of the adult diapers and clean them when they poop themselves and take them to the bathroom and give them daily showers, etc. These people are super essential. So now there's going to be a super shortage of those on the construction sites, and of those in the fields where your fruits and vegetables, your foods come from, among other industries. Krish Omara Vignarash. This person is the president and CEO of a group called Global Refuge, and said that the immigrants that are receiving these termination notices this week, they had only played by the rules, and they already passed security screenings, and they secured legal work authorization. They did nothing wrong. So instead of rewarding responsible migration through orderly legal pathways, this action that's happening now punishes those people who jumped through every hoop asked for them. Well, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services just this week lifted a freeze on pending benefits requests like asylum claims and visa applications for parolees in response to a court order. So it was frozen for a minute. So all those who are seeking asylum, your paperwork was not going through. Everything was frozen. All those who were looking for visas to come to the United States of America, those weren't being granted either. Everything was at a freeze for parolees. And now they have unfrozen that freeze. So processing of benefits was frozen in February, cutting off other legal immigration options weeks before the Donald Trump administration actually announced the termination of parole benefits. So, with that said, that is the latest update as to what is taking place as far as the immigration landscape in the United States of America. Again, a lot of people are going to be running to the fields to pick those oranges and apples and whatever else is in season, because Donald Trump just made it clear on June 12th at a press conference that he will be trying to help and securing those who work in these fields. And that is a direct response to the farmers in the United States of America crying out for help from their president. Please help us. Our farms are failing. We're about to lose everything. And there's going to be difficulties down the line at the grocery store just for getting milk, just for getting some oranges and apples, just for getting a few grapes, just for getting some tomatoes and cucumbers and lettuce. There's going to be a great consequence down the line. Somebody is whispering in the president's ear and saying, sir, we have to find a way to save the agricultural sector because it's fallen into a big, deep black hole. And this is not going to be good in a couple more months. There are people out there who are telling us right now to start stacking up on food because a food shortage is coming. I don't know how true that is, but you can leave in the comment section below if you believe that that will actually happen, where our shelves will go empty again and there will be chaos at the grocery stores like during the pandemic. I'll catch you on the next video. Next time, please remember that you have a right as a citizen to vote for whoever you choose, but please make it an educated vote so you don't end up voting against yourself and against your community and against your best interest, because these votes have consequences. I'll catch you on the next video. It's SouFLoTV. Hit that subscribe button. I'm out. Peace.